Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Siege X Seasonal Series EU MENA Contenders League. My name's Travi. I'm joined here by Amguns, and we have got two amazing best of ones coming your way this evening. We've had a fight through qualifiers, but now it's time to get into the real meat and bones of the competition. Exactly what all the teams have been fighting for. That is, of course, going to be this nice little prize pool we've got coming up cooking here for the Contender Series. That is the columns on the left here. €2,250 prize pool for the winners, as well as a very healthy sharing of rainbow credits, trickling it all the way down. And as well, for the teams that fall up, they've got their chances in the promised finals as well. There's plenty to be up for grabs here, but Amguns, how exactly did we get here?
We got here from 4 weeks worth of qualifiers. This is the first time we've seen this style of qualifier as well. The way it's been working is your top 5 performances in a Swiss style bracket is the way it works. So you play as many games as you want in the weekends that they specify. So the queues open on Friday evening and they run to Sunday evening. You get to play as many games as you want in that time frame, Travi, and your best 5 results give you points on the leaderboard. So the teams that have been invited into this championship series are the teams that had the top 6 most points across those 4 weekends.
Yeah, so got plenty of great teams. And the thing is, I suppose, another point to make noteworthy of if you are just joining us, not sure what the seasonal series is this is not a part of the T2 circuit that we have in Europe. This is not part of any other competition. This is all just a bit of fun, as I'm sure you've seen from the promotional videos. Everyone is welcome. This is one of the first official tournaments, at least, where console and PC players have been able to coexist with one another, working together. I'm not sure if we've got any console teams that have qualified through here, possibly in other regions. Definitely there will be some in the Promise League as well, but there's a lot here. It's a good bit of fun, and hopefully we're going to see some entertaining Siege from the teams. And I think, speaking of entertaining Siege, we've taken some quotes. Amguns has very kindly gone and done some chatting with the team captains, at least for our first game here, just to give you an idea, set the stage a little bit. So we're going to bring up his quote on the screen from Bodolf here. This tournament was a break from them for the T2 circuit tournaments themselves. They're just here to have some fun, right? Because Turks, they've had, let's say, a bit of a rocky time in the T2 tournaments. They've had some great moments, fell just short of making Rumble playoffs, which I think is a bit of a blow to them, because there is a hope that they can get there. They're definitely a great roster with that potential. So I think going into this afternoon, going into all the other games, they're just going to have some fun with it. Just going to go for shooting, and they're just going to hopefully have themselves a really good evening of what is hopefully going to be some very entertaining games to watch.
Exactly that. Bodolf said himself, the competition has not been at the same level as we see in those T2 competitions. And it is one of those things that sort of come out of the blue. A lot of teams maybe not expecting this tournament to appear. And with the sort of different bracket that's been offered, as well as everything else that's happening at the moment in the esports scene for Siege, a lot of teams decided maybe, we don't have the time to play this alongside everything else, because there's just so much stuff happening.
Yeah, that's it. It's crazy, isn't it? The amount of competition we've got from like last year to this year, where we've now got, we've just finished Meisterschaft, ELC, Voltage are all undergoing. We've got Rumble, South Breach qualifiers in a week. There is so much to do right now for these teams. And I think, especially when you're in the trenches and you're on a team like Turks with the expectations that you can qualify through, and there's those expectations, that can be heavy on the mental. So games like this, to have a little bit of fun, are going to be very, very important. And I think they're going to do wonders for the team. And speaking of fun, Amguns, what about our other side, who we've got going up against the Turks?
Man like PGO Nino coming out of nowhere. He's put a roster together for this as well, and they are that fun stack. I don't think they anticipated maybe to qualify for this. I remember seeing some of his stream clips. He was just trying to get everything together and have a bit of a blast with it, but they found themselves in the playoffs. You can see on the screen last night, he was having a bit of a bender last night, but hopefully he's had a fry up. He's got his team together, and they're here to compete. This is the first thing that he's ever played for as well. Obviously, making it through to the playoffs in the first thing that he's ever played is great to see. He's got some boys together. They've had a great run in the opening qualifying games to get to this point. So hopefully they can start off their tournament strong.
This is the thing, you got to start off strong as you mean to go on. We don't have the map veto up on the screen for you folks. Production's not that advanced. If you're to tweet, we're making the graphics in PowerPoint. But we've got Consulate coming up. We've got a best of one to start off our afternoon. And hopefully, between PGO1 and Turks. It's going to be a banger. I mean, it's a tale of two sides, really, isn't it, Amguns? We've got the serious T2 team that's been trying for these high-level events, and then we've got what's essentially a pickup stack going against them, right? It could have been two more different from them, but either way, it's going to be fun.
And to give respect to PGO Nino's squad as well, they beat the likes of Myth and Wild as well. Myth, an extremely good team at the moment with Nixon on board. That's his project team. So this PG side have shown that they can compete. This is the first chance we get to cast them live on stream. I can't wait to see what they're cooking up for us. And they're coming out with a Grim band to kick things off, Travi.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. The Grim, he has a lot of power, especially with how tight and cornered Consulate can be at times. He actually is a very valuable operator, plus all of the utility he brings. Versatile choice, well taken off the board. For our second set of bans, though, double shields being gone, Blackbeard Clash, they're going to be sitting out of this one.
Yeah, the shields increasingly popular, increasingly annoying time to time. If any of you guys have been watching sort of the Rainbow Rumble show, at Littleton and Rasco said it the best. They don't like how much the shields have cursed every level of siege at the moment. And I'm right with them. When you see these guys in your games, they're just incredibly annoying to deal with. So PG Nino, they've banned out the Blackbeard, which they think is the greatest evil out of the three shields. We'll have to see if that comes back to bite them. But I like that they've leaned into banning that execute heavy utility.
Yeah, it's nice because I think they know that's where, if you ask me, as a stack, you're going to struggle the most. End of the round where things start to get a little bit chaotic. Turks are going to dial up the pressure in the final 20 seconds. Ying Candelas, Sensibles, all of this utility being thrown onto site. Consulate leans itself towards that playstyle, so taking some of that off your mind is hopefully going to give PJ a little bit of breathing room that they're going to need to make this journey a bit easier for them.
And I like what I'm seeing from the defense. We've got the Tachanka and the Goyo to provide enough stall to shut out the Turks. The idea is we burn the clock, use the fire to burn that time down, and basically create a sixth man for ourselves and to put additional pressure on the Turks when they do go for their execute, which I really like to see, Travi.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all about creating this pressure for the Turks and making them uncomfortable, because the one advantage that I suppose PGO are going to have is they're not a VODed team. Turks are going to be used to playing these sides with lots of information against them. And, well, Shoxel going to start things off early, using the 6-12 Ying shotgun straight off the board. And that's PGO down for the board. There's the Chanka gone as well.
The Lord is not going to be blessing us with his presence as they're looking to get aggro on this box player as well. He's pinned into this position as Vilos is going to fall from that player down below. So Turks finding these opening kills extremely well to set themselves up for success.
That's exactly it. They've got themselves such an advantage right now, and it seems like Turks are just going to capitalise upon here. Dialing up the aggression as Quantum's cornered on the desk there. Can't really get out of it, and the pressure's just increasing. Deathmark goes, 2 kills coming for the Turks, and it's all up to Rose now to try and pull off the ace clutch. Down below the objective here on the Fenrir. No C4, nothing in the name of. Fiza's playing across, has the idea on where the person is, and now with the Deathmark, that's going to be confirmed, but gives himself away before the tracker comes through. Dancing around the piano, Diffuser's gone down. This one's surely a done deal as the Turks just flurry on in, and, well, Rose can't even get one, giving Turks their first and a flawless one at that.
And what a way to start it as well. And I think PGO Nino, their stack maybe not as well drilled as they are a bit of a pickup stack. You saw the projector breach was left soft, and that's what ended up causing PGO Nino his life. Tried to reinforce it later on, but that ended up giving the Turks an opportunity to counteract that, get themselves all of that soft distraction that's offered with the Ying shotgun. So I think just a little bit of nerves coming in from the side of PGO Nino here and his boys, as once they can settle into this game, we might have a real game on our hands.
Yeah, and I think the benefit here for PGO as well is they're on Consulate defense, a very comfortable starting side here. They've got a lot of power in this position. They're obviously well drilled from ranked. You know, I'm looking at this team and there's a couple names sticking out to me that I've seen in the trenches of ranked with content creators before. This is a team that know how to play this map. They're going to know what they do. It's just a question of can it stack against the Turks. They're obviously playing this one quite comfortably, having a lot of fun with it, bringing out the shotguns, and it's working to good effect.
Yeah, we saw Bodov's quote earlier on. They just need a bit of a break. They've been playing absolute behemoths of rosters in some of the official T2 competitions. They've gone for Rainbow Rumble as well as North, as I think it was before that.
Yeah.
And both of those, you know, they didn't really have, I don't think they had the results they were hoping for. So as we've been saying, this is a good chance to face some competition that maybe isn't as tough and to try and have some success elsewhere. But that's where PGO Nino, this is a roster that could end up proving themselves. If they can go up with one of the heavyweights that is the Turks in this game, they can almost prove to themselves and to the world that maybe they should start taking this a bit more seriously. You know, try and get some more scrims in, try and get some more games going so they can maybe have some success as well.
That's it. They're going up against teams that do practice. If they can take Turks and challenge them without practice, imagine what they could do with it. You know, we've got South Breach qualifiers in a week or so, but before we get there, they've got to get through the Turks. Red Cannon, now locked inside of Expo, tries to take down one, able to find the head of Bodolf, but gets caught out with no ammo by Fiza, trades it back 4 versus 4. Turks will be more than happy to take that one, but they still need to clear this first 4 player as Rose's looking to contest it there. Shots exchanged between the two, none of them hit, and World of Warden just runs on back upstairs and plays safety.
And this is where Turks now have this mid-floor control, and this is going to let Fiza go to work with the Deimos tracker. But I would argue this is a great trade. You've taken out that second Doki call, maybe even both if we didn't use one to clear the Goyo, and all of Goyo's utility is still going to be around across the map to still burn time later on. So now that Turks have claimed the first floor, they now need to figure out how to use it to go up a floor and start pushing pressure on the site itself.
Yeah, that's it. It's now about converting it into this end of round success here. You're seeing, obviously, Fiza getting himself up yellow, burning away utility. As you said, those Vulcan canisters still ever present throughout death. Shoxel's just waiting outside, wanting to spring on in. I've got a feeling Turks, they're going to do it like they did in the previous round. 3, 2, 1, go. All 4 remaining members, set him through windows, through breaches, and they're just going to start clicking heads.
And they've got those Yin Candelas as well as the swing almost being baited out. He really wants to get aggro. The shots don't hit from either side. As now these Candelas start to fly, this is where the push is going to start to come in.
And that's it. Fiza spearheads it there, catches out PGO with the Shumika in hand. Rose does fight back though, takes down Salim. 3 versus 3, yet again even on the board. C4 from Quantum can't quite take out Shoxel, but almost does it. But it's Eren to go down, making it a 3 versus 2 situation. Shoxel not too far behind. It's a 3 versus 1 for the Deimos now. Knows about the one towards his right, but stalled out by the 2 remaining Toxic Babes here. Has to think of something and has to think of it fast. A couple players of PGO, they're on low HP. There's something workable here, but you have to split it. A beautiful one tap. Oh my god, Fiza takes down Rose there, and now can just look to try and find these last 2. 15 seconds to split it up. Gonna use the death mark to find the mute, because that's the one he's unsure of. Sprints across the Toxic Babe, tries to get the mute, but no, he's hidden behind the hard wall. Fiza's in a tough position. The clock almost certainly going to be the one to deal the final blow here, but it's Vilos to shut it down, and PGO, they get themselves on the board nice and early.
And that's going to be so good for the confidence of the defensive side. These are hit an absolutely ridiculous shot. You have no business hitting shots like that, but it's just going to be one for the highlight reels, unfortunately, as that was a full-on 3-2-1 execute coming out from the Turks, and the defense has been able to deal with the pressure. That's the kind of rounds they need to feel confident about themselves and to get more rounds on the board. You really want to make use of this defensive side as much as you can, because you are going to be going into the attack later on, which is the harder side to be able to make anything happen. So to be able to get these rounds in early and to get your confidence that you can compete at this level is great to see, because that was a really by-the-book defense from the side of the defense to use their utility to counteract those Yin Candelas that started flying out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They've burst the bubble. They've done it. They've gotten the one. That is all they need to start realizing, hey, guys, this is within possibility, especially when Fiza's hitting those shots. You can do it. Pijo, great opportunity, great start to the game here. They're going to be happy with that one. And it's nice to see as well, just on an off note, the players are in all chat, typing back and forth, respect to each other. There's no bad blood in the water here. Both teams are having fun with it. Obviously, PGO, little less pressure on their shoulders, but still, both teams, they're just taking it in their stride, just having a good time right now, and that's exactly what I want for a Saturday afternoon.
And this Valkyrie and Red Cannon are going to be the 2 key players to keep an eye on. The Turks understand that the vertical gameplay is incredibly strong, and so do the defense. Rosie and the Red Cannon, they're going to be aiming to sort of counter this vert gameplay that the Turks are aiming to get. This roam game, this is where the round is done or will be lost, because you need to be able to waste the time and just deny that vertical gameplay.
Yeah, and look at this, Fiza getting so aggressive so early on here. As much of Turks seemingly stacking up for a bit of a main breach entry towards the objective here. A couple of bandit batteries to deal with, and they could be doing it. They could be making their way on in, and not really giving much respect to Red Cannon and Quantums, who are playing upstairs, just ignoring them, deciding they might just want to go for something more direct instead.
And they found the entry. The defense shutting out this attack is great to see. And it's the Glaz as well, an operator that's crucial for that execute later on to be able to provide the cover.
And that's it. Fiza's now trying to fight Quantum's upstairs. Does eventually get the kill, but look at what it cost him, Amguns. All of that HP shut off the board there. You've got what's a significantly weakened Turks here, trying to push on towards the objective with not a lot of space cleared across the map, not a lot of safety, and more importantly, a Skopos still at large. You've lost your Glaz, your main execute utility. Pushing into this one, it's going to be hard.
And there's a couple of shots raining out. Thea's going to fall as well as PG Onino and his boys. They can just spunk it down here. Finding a second. The man, the myth, the legend himself will find two as it's a 4v2 situation here on bottom floor Consular.
Well, you say bottom floor, we're on the top floor, we're still chasing the Skopos around. Salim's been the one designated to deal with a job here, but Red knows his role within the round. Hide, bide the time, trickle that clock down. It's known as the 6th defender for that exact reason here. All you've done is you've burnt a lot of time and you can just run back to site. PGO almost gets caught in the chaos of it all from Bodov playing the boogie drones upstairs, but for now, PGO, they're going to hold on to their 4v2 advantage. I speak it out of existence. Rose gets dropped, and PGO's going to follow suit here. Turks have claimed this one back into a 2 versus 2 situation, but here comes the hard part. They're split up. It's a couple of 1 versus 1s for PGO right now, and if they can just find and lock them out of sight, it could be the closeout. Turks still have it all to work for. Using the smoke grenades for the cover, not going to need them. Salim takes down Vilos, can get in towards the objective, and now it's all up to the Skopos to clutch up in a 1 versus 2. They have the information. Onto the players into the objective. Final 30 seconds, but Turks, they're just going to relocate, bring it on in. A nice shot from Bodolf, and they take the round, and Turks hold on to their lead.
And that's where an ACOG would have been really useful, but that is a naughty shot coming in from the Turks. And as unfortunately, the Turks, in the man disadvantage, have been able to find the isolated 1v1s. When you're in these 2v4, 1v4 situations, you need to try and find ways to take these isolated fights. As you saw Rose just getting caught out by that verticality, that Ram just can do so much destruction from above. And that's what's led to them finding PGO on the pillar, as well as Rosie behind the mirror. And just like that, you're in a 2v2 situation. You're right back in the game. So I think still a little bit of nerves coming out from the defense there as they settle into the game. But now that we're 4 rounds in, they can put those rounds behind them. They're getting off to some really good starts. They just need to make sure they stay disciplined in the end game as well.
And the thing is as well now is with these additional bans that have come on through PGO, they've been feeling the threat of the Deimos. I mean, we've seen it countless times. Fiza, he's just playing with an aura of confidence around him right now, swinging, hitting nasty 1-taps, left, right and centre. Get the Deimos off the board, take it down, give yourself that breathing room. And that's exactly what I think that all of the bans have been tailored for PGO right now. And they're just extending that, letting themselves play comfortably and not letting Turks dial up the pressure.
And we are going to repeat the sites. We're going to repeat this again, just like we did on the top floor. I think especially for this defensive side, we understand the mistakes we made. It was looking really, really promising for us. And there's nothing really about the site that caused us to lose the round. We can tighten up ourselves. We can play just a little bit better to get these rounds on the board. And as soon as we can make those adjustments, this round will be ours. You can see an extremely similar lineup coming in from the defense. But maybe this time, especially with the castle, looking to extend onto this mid-floor just a little bit more than last time and just not allow Turks to get near the site.
This is it. It depends how you want to play this second go, because Turks, they kind of dabbled with the idea of going direct last time, ended up having to deviate to deal with it. The second go, they're going to have to pay a bit more attention to it, because I think they realised that was almost their undoing in the previous round. Pay attention to these roamers. Don't let them burn so much time, because otherwise you're going to be dealing with them while trying to execute on towards the objective. Quantum's looking to get aggressive early on here, as main breach is dabbled and danced with, but no, frag grenade misses the mark, and it's going to be remaining shut for a little while longer. Luckily, there's plenty in pocket here for Turks to work with us. Really, they've just got smokes and frags. They're just trying to get themselves in and get that diffuser down.
Not sure how these nades haven't cleared the bandit batteries here, but this time around, if Turks do get this breach, there's so much verticality from the defense to be able to counter it. You can see, look at these defense completely spread across the top and mid floor to be able to use that verticality to back up their teammates.
So much dancing right now. I'm just loving the aggression from Turks right now. They really are just going into this game with the confidence, with the aura that I'd expect them to do. But PJ, they're really giving them a run for it right now. And you can see Turks, they are a little bit hesitant to go in towards the objective. Vilos is playing up in exhibition, meaning that they're not going to be able to make their way in safely. The vertical's not being cleared, and Turks, they're falling into the same pitfalls of the previous round. Halfway left to go now. Eyeing up this side push in. Adrenal Surge comes through, and their push off the back of it instead gets punished. Is traded back, but Rose keeps PGO on top, 4 versus 3.
And a lovely little trade there. They've thinned out the man count, but look at this. We're going to see Finka trying to deal with this vertical all on her own as she jiggles these angles, looking for these players in piano, shooting the Legion line. Should give that position away as they just stare off at each other. Cannon will get punished for that. Looking for the second as well, but this is where in the 3v3, Rosie finds his second as the swing coming out from the Finka finds the head onto Vilos. And just like that, we're in a 2v2.
Fiza's having an absolute life game right now, but he's not going to have a life no longer. Rose says, what about your life game? I want one of my own. PGO closes it up, seals the deal, and this is what I'm loving about this PGO roster right now. They play a site once, they make a mistake. They then go back to it a second time, have learnt from the previous mistakes, they adapt, they change, and then they come out and win it. It's a pattern we've seen twice now, and a possible interesting one now, because they're returning up to top floor for the third time. Question is, Amguns, what's going to happen?
The biggest thing we want to see is the way they played it in the second round. Don't give the Turks an inch. If you are going to give them any space, at least trade it out. We saw Cannon do a great job going 1-for-1 below last time around, wasting some time and utility from the Turks before he eventually got traded. And that's what we want to see more of. If we want to play Cannon down below again, we can make verticality on site itself to help him out. We have the Tachanka on board. PG seeming like it's a bit of a comfort pick for him, but this roster is vertically unchanged from that second round, and this is where it's just little things like those vert angles that we can see Rosie's making here to help out Aroma down below. Just seem a little bit more of a team-based gameplay coming in from PG is what you need to fight back against the Turks, and they've displayed that they can do that. So that's what we want to see more of, Travis.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, obviously with PGO bringing a fairly similar lineup to what we saw before, Turks, the expectation being that higher quality tier 2 roster, they are going to learn. They have learned from the mistakes. They're going to adapt and have found a game plan to change and really counter what PGO want to bring. It's going to be an interesting battle this round number 5, and I think it's going to be really indicative for how this game's going to unfold. Whether Turks are going to maintain their status at the top, but if PGO can win this some third time and get the lead, there's potential for a serious game here.
And this is what makes Siege the best to watch. Both teams are going to be making the adaptations they think they need. We can see the vert being made from the side of the defense, the attack. Bring in a very similar lineup. They've got the flank watch this time around to try and maintain some of that control that they create early. But this mute jammer is going to be a little bit of a problem for the Turks to kick things off, as that vertical angle they've created will give them line of sight, but you're not able to access the site through that, as vertical being made by Red Cannon below. As it seems this time around, the Turks going for a bit of a different push, and we see various different trades kicking off to start off this round.
Just all over the map right now, it feels a little bit here, but PGO, it means they've got the control of it. They are going to slowly retreat back to the objective. It's just red down below, but it's Vilos instead who should be worrying. Slim's charging on through here as Fiza as well, getting in towards the objective, and Turks, I think they've just spotted an opportunity here. They're capitalising upon it, clicking heads left, right and centre. Red, the only one away from the objective, fallen victim to the air jab, giving his position away. Pre-fire's being locked down there. He's going to be able to take Fiza for the back of it, but with one behind, Lion scanned out, the fuse has gone as well. This one is surely a done deal. Turks, they just spotted blood in the water on that side there, moved on in, got the kills, exactly what they need to do. Shocks all with the long range, one tap on the shotgun, finishes it up.
And this is where Turks have just completely changed the pace. We've seen a very slow and methodical approach coming in from the Turks, but this time around, as you said, Travi, they've spotted the blood in the water, they found that gap, and just full sent it. Although the Grim has been banned out, operators like the Ying let you get aggressive and hit these sites direct, and that's what the Turks have utilized to be able to change the pace. They've spotted that opening that the site may be weak because of the roam game coming in from the defense, send those Ying Candelas in, start to get aggressive, count it down 3-2-1, and they found great success on that top floor once again.
Yeah, and final defense here, back up to that top floor once and final time for the half here. Pijo, this is the interesting one. They've just been dissected on this site, now have to return to it yet again. Are they going to get it? Is the pattern going to repeat itself? I think a 3-3 half here for PGO. It is good because obviously every round I think is going to bring lessons for them. There's not going to be a round that they're going to walk out of firmly in the hands holding of it the entire time. They're going to be learning things all the time. It's about how they're adapting them. And a 3-3 half, I would argue, is a pretty good split for them. Obviously, concern for the attack, but right now, they just need to focus on tying up the game.
And look at the adaptation that's been made by the defense. They've swapped off the Tachanka because the Turks really haven't been going for those plants in the late game. They've been sort of steamrolling their way through the top floor because of their sheer aggression. So let's swap the lineup. We've now got the Malusi, the Legion, and the Fenrir to be able to fight back against this aggression. All of these operators give us the edge in the gunfights when Turks do want to decide to push all the way in. So this is a really nice bit of adaptation coming in from the defense to respond to the playstyle of the Turks and to try and fight back and get an even split at the half.
Yeah, because where the Turks took the previous round as aggression, I think it's going to be dialed up to 11 here. I'm surprised it's taken till round number 6 to see her make an appearance, but Amaru is on the table this go around. Bodov's on our operator there with the grapple hook, going to set herself in a window, start spraying people down with the LMG. Well, at least that's the intention of it. First and foremost, Turks need to make sure there's a little bit of safety here to get the diffuser down because it's a lot on Erin's shoulders here, even with that M4 in hand, to make the cover, to allow that plant to go. And it's all going to pause for a second. A calm before the storm.
And Amaru's going to try and bait the utility. She's going to send herself to the roof to try and bait out this first C4. So Mew doesn't seem interested. He's going for that fight on those yellow stairs as the Lion Call comes in. Will this be the start, the signal to start getting this push going?
That's it. Continual baits happening through here, but PGO, they're not having any of it. Not giving anything away, and that's key because they've only got the singular C4. However, PGO's position is under more and more pressure, so he takes a little bit of damage there from Fiza on yellow. Just has to wait, just has to be cautious. There's still 90 seconds left to play for this round here. Turks, they're eyeing up this plant, but they need to find the piece that's going to get them in there. They need to find the key, and that's not what they wanted to find. An early loss to Vilos, and that's not the good start.
The trade is there though, as Mav's on the cover. That's your C4 down as well as this kit starts to go down. But we just swing straight past it as a lovely bit of play coming in from the red cannon as he denies that plant. The kit's now cold in the middle of the site. And this little pocket execute not working out for the Turks this time around.
Yeah, and all that baiting as well. Look at the utility is expended. You've got 1 E, 1 D left. The final Candela has just been tossed. Vilos will take his final breath as the 3v2 becomes the situation. Trades going back and forth between the sides. There's a 2 versus 2, and it all comes on to how Turks can get into this window and get this diffuser down. Rosie has the right idea, wants to go and play it down below. Quantum's as well, playing with the impact grenades, but the vertical is what you need there. Runs out, gets the player on the rappel, shocks all. Charges on into sight, gets the player there, and now just has to try and stick this diffuser down, rely on the rotation time. But look at this, Amguns. The intel's been fed on through, pops the Vulcan canister, and takes down Shoxall, who was already on low HP. And PGO, they tie up the half.
They get a great even split here as they are going toe-to-toe with the Turks. I don't think the run out of bottom yellow was the right play as they had to vert from piano to deny the plant the first time outright. So that would have allowed his teammate to maybe stay alive that little bit longer. But nevertheless, Rosie, he's going to be proving that he deserves a spot in this game. Absolutely clutching up the 1v2 for his team. But my only concern now, Travi, is going into this attacking side. Will PGO's roster have the coordination to be able to break down a map that's been known to be so defender-sided? That's my biggest concern going up against a team that, he said it himself, these guys scrim daily. They're one of those T2 giants. The Turks are going to have very established defensive positions and setups that I need to see the attack try and break down.
This is it, because I think if Turks realise there's danger in this, they're going to start playing at that 110% factor, because sure, it's not the T2 circuit, but there is still money on the line, and obviously a bit of reputation there as well. With the Turks, you know, they have the expectations to be winning this game, especially against this more of a pick-up stack type roster against PGO. You know, it's very interesting dynamics at play here. Operator bans have come on through. PGO are not going to be able to take advantage of the shields. It's a common ban for Turks to take him off the board there. Nothing out of the ordinary. Although for the defensive ban, Azami in a clash.
Very annoying operators to deal with. But you can see the Turks, they brought a mirror out to try and hold this top floor. And the mirror trapping is not something we see very often on this top floor. If we're seeing a piano defense, we often see the mirror as well as on basement. But on the top floor, it's not something you see very often.
It's an interesting pick, and it's got value there. You know, there's obviously here, as you can see, he's a great position here. Set up from in break, facing on in towards admin there. Those window repels suddenly become a hell of a lot hotter, a lot more difficult to clear. But PGO, looking at what the lineup they've got bringing here, they're tossing and turning around the Amaru. PGO, the man, the myth, the legend, gonna be hopping straight onto it, onto the grapple hook. Vilas will be playing below on the vertical. It's very telegraphed here what PGO want to go for. The only question is, are Turks going to let them do it?
This all comes down to the execution of the take. We're not really seeing any ghost pressure coming in across that admin side. So as you said, the Turks should be well aware of where this execute is coming down. We have 2 C4s and smoke babes in pocket to be able to deny this plant. So this is all going to be about using the combination of the Grim and the Deimos to create space for this plant to go down. You can see we've got the gridlock as well, but Salim's going to put a nail in the works as he finds a great kill to open things up. He finds a double for himself, and that execution isn't where it needs to be, as it's all gone wrong before it's even started.
That's it, and you've lost 2 key operators there. The Grim for that execute utility, the Buck for the vertical, and PGO are left with a much weakened roster. Player on the repel's gone, and the Claymores are there, but when you're losing gunfights to players inside of sight, it's just unfortunate. Much so indeed. So PGO are going to have to make this work in a 3v5 situation. You've lost 2 men already. Sometimes the mentality here might just be to full send it, go fast. They've established a control down below, and wouldn't it be great if you had a Buck on the board to apply some vertical pressure? Quantum's maybe bringing a secondary shotgun. Could use PGO's shotgun as well. There's options here, but you've got to be careful of Salim, who already seems to be looking for more.
And the good thing for the attack is they still have time to work with. Quantum's been rewarded by being patient. He's found one back onto the smoke, as this shotgun's going to do God's work onto Rosie as he's caught out. Salim's on for an ace here as the jump comes in. That's a quad for himself as he's going to keep the kills rolling. Quantum finds a second for himself. Tagged to low HP as Salim hunting for this ace.
That's it. Bodolf just giving the information away there. Salim knows what's on the line right now. An ace, a lovely little clip to go, and all you've got to do is take down Quantums, but it's not meant to be. The latter of which on for a triple kill himself now. Gonna need to do what Bodolf couldn't, Salim couldn't, sorry, rather, and get the ace on the round. 50 seconds left to go to try and do this one with a C4 in back pocket. Vulcan canisters to play behind as well. Turks, they'd be wise to just play this one patiently, wait down the remainder of this clock, because Quantums is going to have to give himself away at some point. And they're spotted out by the bulletproof camera, information fed through by the FNAT, and they can just play the time here. Low HP, not a lot to go in for it. Stuck in a gunfight with a player, getting aggressive. Fiza with the Vector on the long angle, takes it on down. And Turks, they start off their defensive round with quite a statement.
Almost the ace versus ace situation. Quantum's not able to find the last 2 to salvage the round for his team. But this is where I think the attacking side, PGO Neek Sports. That's a mouthful and a half, isn't it, to get out?
I'll just go with PGO.
Yeah, PGO on the attack. I've had a bit of a rude awakening. They have to pay respect to the aggression of the Turks. We can't be letting Salim find doubles outside the building. As we saw in the overhead cam, we saw both players, the Grim and the Buck, vital for that execute, being taken out extremely early by the smoke. We just need to make sure the patience that we saw them have on the defense, as well as the patience we've seen from people like Quantums, is translated across the whole team. If we can just get set up, get into good positions where we're then able to execute from there, that's going to help this PGO side on their attack find a lot more success. Consulate's one of those maps where it can be extremely strat heavy, Travi, and I think we need to see them lean into that a bit more.
Yeah, they need to go into these rounds with a clean game plan, because that hesitation, that's where Turks are going to spot openings in your attacks. And that's when you're going to see things like we saw in the previous round where Salim's going outside, trying to take players on repels. Players are going to get aggressive. Players are going to go for something cheeky. That's just the way Turks are going to want to play this one. With the extra lineup of confidence, they've got a very trap-heavy lineup right now. 4 of the 5 on the trap, and then Shoxall to deny some information as well. Turks, they're just going to be playing comfortable, playing aggressive, but sometimes aggression, it doesn't pay off as Rose continues what's been a very good game so far, 9-5, and takes down Fiza early on.
I mean, what a player to take out as well, Travi. Fiza, who's going 10-6, the top frag for the Turks. It's a great way to get yourselves off to an early advantage by taking out one of the key players in the Turks roster. And that's the patience we wanted to see. They're respecting the fact that spawn peaks are a thing, that we need to make sure we're checking them, and they've been rewarded for it as well.
Yeah, that's it. Those spawn peaks, and Rosé's just going to continue on in this round there. Takes down Aaron, who's had a little bit of a quiet game so far, but now Selim wants to come out to play. But as you can see, Visa, it's been left totally vacant here, and while Turks might want to find their way back into this round, there's not a lot left for them to do down here. A vertical C4, it's a possibility, but you've got to keep in mind, sites in the basement, there's still a lot to clear through. But despite 2 players being down, we're only a minute into the round here. Plenty of time for PGO to work with, as they are leaning into that strat heavy side. A slow, methodical clear through Consulate. The only thing we need to make sure is that it's not too slow.
The biggest thing for the Turks now is they're going to be looking to re-aggress. You can see Selim and Kapkan doubling up together around this area, trying to find a way back into the round. You have to get aggressive. You have to hunt for the kills now. The hunted now become the hunters, as they're trying to find that trade back into the round, so they don't end up losing this round just to being traded out.
Yeah, a lot of commitment on this top floor right now for Turks. You've got 2 players, all 3 of them upstairs. The site is in basement. No one is at home right now. It could be free, but Shoxel might find something free of his own here. Completely catches Rosé off guard, takes them down from the back. Selim with another elsewhere, while Bodo does end up falling. Selim is there for the trade. A 2v2 situation becomes a 1v2 now. Selim has to clutch up on the DMR. Can't quite do it. Quantums hits the long shot and gets the round for PGO. And yet again, of them learning, applying what they've found out, and then making it work.
Making that man count, using that man count, putting it to work. It was a bit scrappy on that top floor, but it was great work from the attack to go together. Although they lost a couple of bodies and end up in the 2v2 situation, because they're all sending it together, because they've timed it well, they're in places to be able to trade these kills out and get the round over the line, which is amazing to see. This is a pickup stack that is going toe-to-toe with some of the T2 giants. It's great to see. I mean, they're playing by those general basic principles of Siege, by being close to your teammates, don't bait your team. And this is the success you can have when you just stick to those basics and do them well.
Yeah, that's it. It's the simplicity. And the thing I love about this PGO roster right now is they're just playing well. They're not getting overwhelmed by Turks, because that was clearly a strategy there from Turks. Just to overwhelm them. We might be a 3v5, but we can thrive in the chaos. PGO, they're managing to keep their heads firmly above the water, contending, competing, and it's showing in the scoreboard, right? 4-4 right now. Both 1-1 so far this half. This game, it has the potential to go the distance, and for PGO, I don't think they could be any happier with the result.
I mean, they are going band for band with this team, which is great to see, and playing some great Siege as well. Both of these teams have been playing pretty normal, decent Siege on a map that supports it, but Rosé, who was so patient last time around, is going to get punished by Selim this time. But before the trade could come in, Selim's found a second, and now the attack find themselves in the reverse of the situation they found themselves in the round before.
That's a massive blow there. Losing your Blackbeard, losing your shield, the spearhead gone, taken off the board. Compare that to an Aruni who's already popped her utility down. Sure, you lose the gun, but at the end of the day, Turks are more than happy to take this one. A massive advantage in the early round here, and they're looking to extend that now. Going to be contesting this admin hop in here. That PGO are eyeing on up. Beehive's come on in, not going to spot anyone just as of yet. Turks, they're playing this cautious. They are giving respect to their opponent, but the pressure is going to keep on mounting up here. Look at this. 3 players all contest it. They don't want to give PGO anything at all right now. C4 from below drops Vilos. Red looking to get aggressive on the window. Does find Fiza. 3 versus 3, only if they can recover the Ash.
And the Ash is not in a great situation, as they've got a player below trying to floor bang the Ash as well, which is not ideal, but it looks like they will be able to get this Ash up. But PGO Nino, he's going to fall from this player below, and now Red Cannon finding himself in another clutch situation.
That's it. Red's got to step up huge here. Can go up for the revive on towards Vilos here. But I think the thing is the C4's thrown about. Shoxel misses the mark there. But they should be able to get the revive through, so at least it's a 2v3 to play right now, as Eren can't quite hit the shot, but as soon as Varlos is put back up, he's sent right back down here, and Eren cleans it up there. Clean double one. Turk's going to be maintaining that lead they've held, and I think this is the thing we need to see from PGO right now, is they've been tailing Turks throughout most of this matchup. We need to see them win this next round and then win another. Start to take the lead, start to take control, and really pull on the reins, or otherwise, we could be going to overtime.
And that's the thing. We need a good 2 rounds here. The good thing for PGO is it's now the ban phase. You can ban one of those operators that's really been getting under your skin. But the Turks, I don't think they've really crutched on one operator. They've been bringing a real mix of different operators throughout this game. But I think that Valkyries we just saw was extremely annoying. The verticality on show from the side of the Turks, the Valkyrie was the main enabling operator for that. So I think it makes sense why we're seeing the Valkyrie banned out here.
Yeah, and it's that information that Turks can just play off of, right? Information is a godsend in this game. PGO, they're going to not be able to play without the Blackbeard. We saw them bring him in 1 round, but we didn't really see much of him. He got spawn peeked within the first 10 seconds, so it's not going to be changing things up too much. Now, though, Turks return to this top floor. PGO going to be trying what they tried in the first round and a half here, it seems. Again, going with the same strategy, but the key is just not to lose the 2 players early on this time. Extend it a little bit further, and as you said, Amguds, just play with that caution we saw from them on the defense.
And that caution is what's given them the success. When they take their time, when they're organized, when they calm the comms down, we've seen some really good stuff out of the attack, and that's what I'd like to see from them again. They're lining up for a very similar execute to what they tried to achieve in the previous round, and this is where it just comes down to your IGL. As long as you are disciplined and you understand what your IGL wants from you, and every piece of this attacking roster does their part, that's what gives you the most reliable success. A lot of teams, especially what's been talked about in Rumble at the moment, relies on sort of hero players like Krex that have been into T1 to sort of pop off. If you can sort of allow everybody in your roster to understand their role and they can just focus on their part, then it takes off of that burden of your key players needing to step up round to round. And that's what I want to see from the attack now. Just make sure everyone understands what their role is and they can do it well to start giving you some success.
That's it. We just need to see the players who don't need to be getting in the entries, staying out of them, staying it safe, playing it a little bit more cautiously. Well, that's the opposite here for Shoxel as he gets over-aggressive, bit confident, trying to take down Quantum's going in through the front, can't quite do so. But yet again, Turks, they're playing this very aggressive style right now. They're just knocking at the door, not letting PGO get anything. 2 more kills come their way, almost a third as well, but Rose will not let it go on through. Does take down Fiza, and despite the anarchy in the first minute, it's a 3 versus 3 situation right now, and it could be anyone's round still.
And they know this player's posted up here. PGO's got the shotgun in hand. It's going to be shotgun v shotgun. But Salim finds the head of Rosie. Keeps finding the one more as well as the flashbang does come up. But it's a little too late as the Red Cannon's going to go hunting for this trade. But Salim, once again, finds the kills. But this time it's Red Cannon's turn as he finds one back. He knows he's got a second pinned into this box. But there is vertical pressure from above as well.
No, but he misses it, reloaded. Eren can't quite hit it. Red now in a very winnable situation. Knows about the player outside. Gets the one above. Red. It's a 1 versus 1. You know where Salim is. Red, he's been put in this situation so many times before this game. He's going to get the diffuser. There is no safe way in for Salim right now. He could get away with robbery. Pop the beehive. Go plant. Go play safe because Salim, the pressure's on you right now, my friend, to get this one done. A minute left to go. Does Red want to go for the pick? Does Red want to try and go for the plant? He knows exactly where Salim is. But as we said, in this situation so many times before, yet to make it happen. But round 10, it could be the difference maker. It could be the one. But Red, he's going to have to play this masterfully. Dodges the C4, and this is the opening that he needed.
The roles have completely reversed as Cannon should have enough time to stick this kit down. No C4 in hand as he managed to get out the window as well. And now he's got options available. He's still got 2 Grimbees in pocket as well. As Salim's just going to stick the defuse right in his face. The pros don't fake. We need to swing this and deny this. But the swing as what a way to end the round as he just sticks it right in the face of his opponent. And that's a terrible way to lose your 11th round.
Pros don't fake. Pros do not fake. Somehow,
What a
some
round.
way.
What a round.
For Red, that's got to be heartbreak for Red, right? He's been put in so many clutch situations, and we thought that was going to be the one. That was going to be the hero play, the clip that sits on Twitter for the next 2 weeks. But no, unfortunately not. Turks steal it away and get themselves match point at that as well. It is just the best of one here. It is just the first to 7 for these first couple of games. And PJ, they've put up a good fight, but they're going to need to dig a little bit deeper right now, because it's going to be a very tough uphill battle from here. 2 great rounds required to take us into overtime. They're going to need to really think deep about this one.
I'm surprised we've not seen an attack timeout come in from the side of PGO either. That is a heartbreaking way to lose the round, because you've got to remember, it was a 1v3 clutch situation for the Red Cannon. He found some nutty shots to bring it back to a 1v1. So that after a round like that, that's when attack timeout, you can really use it to calm yourselves down, to understand that you can beat this roster and what you might need to do to win the next round. The Turks, they've opted to go for a site we don't see very often, which is going to be this Tellers and Basement site. And for those who are initiated, this could provide its own challenges, because we don't see it very often. There isn't really like an established way to win this site, because you just don't see it very often.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the other way I feel about that is it goes both ways, and it's unique in its gameplay aspect. As you can see, one site's on first floor, one site's in basement, nothing else like it in the competitive map pool. It's different, and throwing off PGO could be the play from Turks right now, because they obviously have a very solid foundation, but it's being shaken up by Quantums. Get shots all early on here. First pick of the map for PGO, but Salim is able to trade it back through the drone hole, takes the feet, and it's just a bloodbath right now as PJ try to make their entry to the building, but they're not being given an inch of it.
The trade is there, leaving us in this 4v4 situation. And the biggest thing I've noticed from the Turk is normally on this site, you bring a lot of C4s, you bring a lot of information to be able to deny the plant from below. The Turks have gone for a bit more of a frag-heavy nature in this round. You can see they've got the Ella, the Goyo, and the Mozzie, maybe just looking to get active and shut down PGO on the attack. But the situations we found ourselves in, this is 4v4 with lots of time left. PGO still have plenty of tools available to make this execute work. That Dokkaebi is going to be crucial for identifying where they can push in, where these defenders are going to be when it does come to their execute later on.
That's it. They've got tools available to them. It's all in really how you're going to be using them. Because on the side of Turks, they've got a C4, still got a couple of impacts. And you can see Salim already thinking about applying up that vertical pressure, causing an explosive end to the round here. And Turks, they're just going to play comfortable right now. They're not going to give anything away for themselves. Salim does think about it, does tease us with something on the vertical. But PGO, whether they want to commit to it, whether they want to go for it or not, they know the player's there. But instead, it's going to be Fiza. Takes down Quantum. Salim, there you go, on the vertical, has the effect he's been looking for. It's all up to Red, it's all up to PGO to try and bring this one back. It's a 2v4 situation, 50 seconds left to go on the clock, but the pressure from the vertical above and below as well, it's just all too much to handle. Red, he almost pulled off the 1v3, now tasked with a 1 versus 4. He downs the first, able to confirm it, getting him into the situation he was in the previous round, but pressure from above, pressure from below, one inside a sight. It's a very far-fetched result right now. And already, Turks are just holding patiently, waiting for this clock, gonna let this one go. Diffuser is cold, Red exploring his options, but there's not a lot available to him right now. Hope that Turks overextend, hope that Turks slip up, but we know the quality of this roster. They're unlikely to do so here. Red, he gets another, but can't quite hit the final one. And Turks, they'll take it, they'll take the game 7-4 fashion. But what a valiant fight from PGO, because for a moment there, it almost seemed like they could do it, but you've got to give it to Turks. They played a phenomenal game.
That was a great game to watch, though. We saw some absolute chaos left, right, and center across various different rounds, but the experience of the Turks does pay off here. And bro, Salim the Dream dropping 16-7, going absolutely nuclear Travi across that game. But that was a great game to watch. And I think PGO squad and the boys should be really happy with their performance, because they didn't get rolled out. They played a really good game of Siege. Some of these rounds were extremely close across the game. And it was brilliant to watch. Like, it was a great game between two sides that have had great success over the qualifying weekend. But overall, the Turks experience paying off for them. And they start off their playoff series 1-0.
Yeah, it's going to be a great result for the Turks. And I think another thing, to really just add on top of that as well, is just going to be, for me, it's what this seasonal series is all about. It's not a part of our T2 circuit, as we do keep reminding you all. It's a bit more of a relaxed competition. You've seen it from Vodolf at the start. The Turks taking this much more chill than anything else. It gives teams like PGO a more of a pickup stack, an opportunity to compete with some of the best we've got in Europe. And as you said, they didn't get completely destroyed. They put up a really good fight, learned a lot of lessons, and there, I want to say potential. There is something there that could possibly work. Bit of practice between now and next weekend, going to South Breach qualifiers. If that's what PGO want to do, they could certainly be competing up there and looking to rack up the points for that one. It was a great game to watch, right? Shame it didn't go any longer, but as you say, I think to count out Turks would have been a mistake, right? They are a T2 side. They're a very strong one, but you've got to give credit where it's due to PGO, right? They put such a phenomenal fight on the board and a really entertaining game to kick off the evening.
It was great fun. It gave me APAC vibes. For those of
Yeah.
you in chat that have watched any of APL, it gave me APAC vibes through and through. The way both teams are going about it, the sort of trap-heavy nature that especially the Turks were bringing. And to be fair, PGO squad did as well. You saw that round where they had the Fenrir, the Legion, and the Malusi to sort of battle the frag-heavy nature of this game was phenomenal to see. It was like very much of the APAC, just we're going to full send it, balls to the wall all the time and see what happens. And it was extremely close. Really exciting siege being played by both teams. And it was great to watch. Hopefully everyone in chat enjoyed it as much as we did casting it.
That was it. It's just a fun game, and I think that's what this competition's just going to be all about. Some good fun siege, a bit of quality in there, a bit of shenanigans, and all in all, just a phenomenal way to spend your weekends. Of course, this is not going to be the only game we've got tonight. We've got another best of one coming up your way. We've just got to wait for all of the other games elsewhere in the bracket to finish up first, Moss files to be sent through. Then we can get through to the second stage of the competition, where we're going to be seeing Myth Esports going up against 049. Just to give you an update as well of how the bracket's looking as a whole. Flare Esports and 8vs, that game has gone 7-3 the way of 8vs, and then the good guys Myth Esports game has gone 7-3 to Myth. Just waiting on Wild Mighty Gaming and 049, and then we'll be back with our second game of the evening. So go grab a snack because we've got one more game coming your way in just a few minutes. And thank you for bearing with us during that short break, folks. Welcome back to the seasonal series. We've got one final game coming up this evening, and Amguns is going to be an absolute banger.
It's going to be Myth from none other than the Voltage League, playing against the 049ers, I believe, and the game is good to go. So let's get straight into the action, Travis.
That's it. No breaks, no more waiting around. We've just got one final best of one here, and hopefully one that's going to go a little bit of the distance, because after the game we had earlier today, it was a 7-4, no doubt about it, but it wasn't perhaps as long as we hoped for it. 049, they're just coming off of a loss to Wild multi-game. And Myth, on the other hand, they won their first game of the evening, 7-3 against the good guys. So they're looking to keep up their victorious form here. They're looking to keep things strong, and we're going to bank a map we know they're pretty good on. They're pretty solid. They are going to be starting on the attack, so curious to see how things fare on out. But hopefully, no matter what happens, it's going to be an absolute barn burner.
And barn burners is what we want. Our first game of the day was an absolute banger of a barn burner as we load into bank. And this is another one of those very frag heavy maps, especially outside of that basement site. The top floor and mid floors is very easy for the attacking side to put a lot of pressure on the defense because of just the nature of the map and the long lines of sight on that top floor that are available to the attacking side. It's a bit Windows simulatory, but all in all, I think it's a great map to watch here, Travi.
Yeah, it's going to be a really entertaining one. I think in the best of one format as well. You know, obviously it's, you know, people make the arguments best of ones can be a bit flippy floppy. I think the better team is still going to come out on top. It's going to just be, hopefully, just another really interesting game to watch here because, you know, we're still at the start of group stages here. Still got another couple weekends to go through. And, of course, we've got another couple operator bans coming on in. Cade Ace taken off the board. Nothing really out of the ordinary for our first set, but hopefully the second set might be getting a bit more spicy.
The reason these operators are banned so often, and you can see this is especially from 049 Esports, it's all about the Kanto wall. The Habana is especially useful on that basement site as well for getting those hatches open, but with both raised hard breaches taken off the board, especially that Kanto wall on the top floor, as well as for the mid-floor sites, just isn't able to get open if it has been reinforced. So 049, something to keep an eye out for when we move on later into these rounds is how they use the fact the Kanto wall doesn't get open to hold and keep presence on that floor.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, we're not starting on the top floor just of yet. We're going to be going for a basement starting strategy, actually, with Nordesh just opening up everything and anything there with the Chanka LMG and an in-facing mirror window towards the objective. This one, there's a mix of actual strategy here. There's also just a mix of let's just see what sticks. Hatches being opened up as well. 049. I think they're doing what the Turks did in the last game and having a little bit of fun with it.
They are having a bit of fun with it indeed. But if we just break down this lineup just a little bit more, it actually makes a lot of sense. The mirror is extremely common, and then every other operator outside of the Scopos is aimed at plant denial. This basement site is all about attacker utility versus defender utility. It's almost this stalemate of this default plant spot. And that's what 049ers are leaning into. You have the Tachanka, the Goyo, and the Smoke, which all aim to deny that plant later on when there's limited time on the clock for the attacking side. You've got Kesty here just trying to waste a bit of time on this top floor, burn some utility, and make his way back to the site as he's looking to fight this roam head on.
Oh, but he might get caught doing so. I think he realises the danger he's in right there. Swaps away on the Scopos. Shell will be destroyed, but you're going to get away scot-free for that one. You're not going to get the time denial that I think you really would have wanted out of that extended roam. But at the end of the day, 049, they're just going to be happy to have all 5 players still standing on there. Obviously, you do have somebody playing inside of elevator, still on the first floor, but an easy drop yet again. Myth, they've got quite a lot of control over the map, and very early on to do so. And even Pity might want to challenge them. Right now, Myth, they're going to be fairly comfortable for the rest of this one.
And this is where that roam game didn't really achieve a whole lot. But luckily, this basement site is just incredibly defender favored. Even with lots of time on the clock, there's a lot you have to do to get it over the line. And the Warden ban came out from Myth Esports as well. However, I don't see a Ying, which is the most common operator used to unlock this basement site. Eli, or the Sense, which is Eli is playing. Oh, sorry, Akari is playing. The Warden doesn't counter that operator anyway. So there's not really anything in this lineup other than the Blitz that really makes use of that Warden ban. So I really want to see Cyan get extremely aggressive, providing the distraction to get that kit down.
Well, instead, it's going to be Tridley getting aggressive there. Gets the first one, takes down Nagoyo. Obviously, utility will still persist through death, so the rest of the team on 049 still going to be able to pop those Vulcan canisters, but it just gives Myth a bit of an opener into this round there. ROU projectors thrown and showing a bit how disorderly they can be there, and perhaps not getting into the right spot. Akari just going to keep them nice and low, and then when the go signal's given, they're all going to drop, and they're all going to start picking up frags.
The biggest key position they want to clear is this red hallway. This is where the C4s are thrown out from. These are where the smokes are thrown out from. This is roughly where Tachanka is going to be playing. If we can keep line of sight and information on this area, we should have the space we need to get that diffuser down. As the Grimbees start to fly out, the Deimos tracks come in, Travi. They need to get a move on. There's only 30 seconds left.
That's it, and Klesty's able to take down Trilly there. That's the Deimos off the board. A lot of pressure. They know about the one inside a garage as well. Pity can't quite hit them as they go to hide behind the ambulance, but a pre-fire from the Vector will find it. Klesty with another one elsewhere reduces Myth just to Akari and Cyan, who now need to try and get themselves inside the objective. Ladder of which drops down the hatch, tries to make the plant attempt through, but stuck inside a Toxic Babe. You're just going to have to go for picks at this point, but the chip damage has been done. HP is low at 049. They get their kill, and with Akari left standing, 5 seconds to go. This one's done. This one's dusted at 049. They're going to start themselves off with round number 1. Get it underway, playing the utility game of this basement site to near perfection.
I think those sense walls just not being thrown out correctly. That lineup is tried and tested. We see it all the time, which gives you a wall of sense all the way across all of the head holes the defense make. Because that sense wall hasn't found its mark, they haven't been able to send the blitz in to get the diffuser down. You'll notice there was that backwards facing mirror on the blue wall as well. With both of these ranged hard breaches being banned out, you don't have an easy way to be able to stop or open that wall so you can actually get into default on plant. That's why you saw Myth absolutely scrambling on that site, because they don't have access to the default plant anymore. And all of that defensive utility was placed to stop them walking in that door. So a great bit of strategy coming in from 049ers here. They're copying when this was first shown from Brazil. Brazil really sort of were the leading factor in this strategy. And 049ers have taken a play out of that book, and it's worked out really well for them.
And that's the thing, you've got to be able to just learn from there. Now we head back up to this top floor site for the first time in this game. 049 bringing a fairly standard lineup for it, nothing really out of the ordinary. And I mean, I'm looking at this matchup here, and at least off round one, I think we're going to be in for a much more serious game between these two sides than the last one. PGO and Turks, they had a bit of fun in the last game, but I think here both teams locked in and just really looking to take home their lion's share of the cash prize, really.
Yeah, much more of an EML, EMEA now it even is. It's changed so many times. Sort of style of gameplay here. This is very accustomed to what we're used to seeing on Bank, with both teams playing a very strategic game, leaning heavily into the utility, and that's what 049 is doing once again.
Oh, but early starts at around there. Eli's going to be dropping, leaning into the gunplay, not having the desired impact so far on the Deimos. And yet again, it's just 049 getting themselves off to a really good start of things. Myth now going to have to try and contest this one, try and find a way back into it. This position here from Mirix held in stock could be the opener through. They need to try and catch him before he can escape away, but that Azami can just reactivate those Kiba barricades as soon as they're popped away, keeping this position fighting. And this time around, defense doing a much better job of burning the clock away.
And the good thing for the Azami, or for the attack onto the Azami, is they've got lots of DMRs. These are great counters as they've been buffed recently to try and take out these Azami barricades. They used to be a real pain to be able to deal with. But Capital, he's going to be looking to clear this stock position and maybe hop in the windows here. But they've still got this mirror to deal with that's just staring them down. And Pity's going to make good work with it, but Tridley finds one, can't find the second, as it's all left down to Dynamite on the blitz.
Flurry of kills coming on in, but it's what's essentially a 1 versus 3. Pity is in Janitor, supported alongside by Klesty, so the revive's going to come on through, and that puts it real hard situation right now for Dynamo. Sure, the blitz is good in a 1v1 situation, but when there's 4 defenders chasing you down, one of which with a C4, it becomes a very difficult situation to fight your way out of. Diffuse is cold outside the rappel window, and what's standing in between it and you is going to be the full might of 049. C4's thrown, hits, does a bit of damage, can't quite confirm the kill, however, but Myth at this point cornered into a wall, backs against it. There's not much to do from here. You just have to try and hope that 049 slip up, but let's be honest, they're not going to. They've got everything going in their way right now, and why let gold go from your fingers?
And this is where, for Myth Esports, they just don't look as clinical as we've seen them be before. Myth Esports, when they count down these executes, the execution is just a little bit off. It's little things like not having the Capital ball be perfectly above the mirror so the smoke can't swing you. They're just not quite 3-2-1 sending it at the same pace. But we are very early into this game. These first couple of rounds is all about feeling out your opponents, getting a feel for how they're playing, and now you can start making adaptations. But this is an attacker-sided map. Myth can't wait too long before they do start making those adaptations.
That's it, they have to pick up the pace, and really, I think all eyes are going to be on this next round here, number 3, because the reason being, that's going to be the tertiary bomb site coming out. Now, what should be the weakest one for the defense is the best opportunity for Myth to get themselves that one, to break that bubble, to burst into this matchup. They're heading open to open area, which sure, is going to pose challenges of own. I'm already eyeing up that echo pick from the defense. The mirror been a mainstay for the lineup of 049 so far. Just because it is this third bomb site doesn't mean it's going to be easy for the attackers.
It is going to be Myth's best chance of getting a round on the board on this attack, although it's generally the attacker side to have the advantage. Here on Bank, this is where Myth can use that, combined with the fact that this is the tertiary site, to really springboard their way into the game. Something that we're seeing for the first time finally from Myth is that shield. With all 3 of them being available because of these ranged hard features banned, I'm surprised it's taken this long to see a Monty or a Blackbeard or a Blitz being brought out, because like we said at the start of the broadcast, the shields are just insane. There's a reason content creators and pros alike, especially ranked players across the scene, have been complaining about these operators. They are just incredible at taking map space. So Tridley finally hopping the Blackbeard could be a key factor for helping Myth Esports get some rounds on the board.
That's it. Change is going to be needed for this round here because Myth, as you said, Amgos, they've been disjointed. It's not been what they need things to be. Right now, 049, they're going to be comfortable. They're 2 rounds up on a Bank defense. Starting off, you couldn't really write it any better for them. Now it's about solidifying that third round, completing that rotation, and they just need to ensure that they're going to do it off without a hitch. Myth, they're changing things up, but I don't know if they've got the right answers just as of yet. We're going to have to wait and see off of what is a little bit of a reserved go from 049. You've got one player above, one down below, but other than that, everyone's playing close to sight and keeping their cards nice and close to their chest.
The thing that's a bit untraditional from the side of Myth on this attack, as the first opening kill comes in again, Dynamite taken out early, and Myric's looking for another as well. He's just posted up in this position, looking to get cheeky with it, patiently waiting for this kill. Will he find a swing? We'll have to wait and see.
About it. He wants it, and that's the key right now. It's the level of confidence there. Despite having the shield on the window, despite having the one to his right, there's not a lot of confidence from Myth right now. You're already a man down, a minute on in, and that's just prompted Tridley to full-on send it. Already in towards Archives area, clearing it out, making space for the attacking team, but they've got themselves close to sight, but they've got themselves in a little bit of a sandwich right now. Myrix has gone unchecked, now can play from behind, sandwiched in by Klesty on the other side. It's a difficult situation for the attack right now, and it just gets harder with the loss of Tridley, Siren to fall as well, almost tomed out there by the Deagle, putting it all onto the shoulders of Akari to clutch on up here in what is a 1 versus 5 situation. 049, we said it'd be a hard round for them, but they're looking better than ever right now, trying to solidify this 3-0 lead, a flawless game, and they want to do it in flawless fashion.
The biggest problem for Myth Esports is the take they've gone for. A really unconventional push through lobby to try and take into Archives. But when you take that little map control, you can see what O49ers have done. They've re-aggressed into bottom square, above, even back into lobby, and basically put Myth Esports in a box. And that box is not where you want to be because you're having to fight people on 4 different sides. And that's worked out for the O49ers. They've sprung a net over the little control Myth Esports have and just traded the kills out. When you're having to fight 3 different fronts, it's never going to be a good way to try and win the round. So Myth Esports, now that they've seen all 3 defenses from the side of O49ers, this is where we need some big adaptations. The first thing we need to do is find a way, maybe bring a thermite to open up that default plant on this basement, or we need to bring operators like the Ying that allow us to plant in a bit of an off spot. We clearly see that O49ers are bringing everything in their power to deny that default spot. We either need to have enough time to be able to plant them there after all that utility fades, or we need to try and avoid it completely. And the Ying is that perfect tool to enable that. As you can see from the lineup, Travi, we're going for that extremely heavy plant denial approach once again.
That's it. And looking at the side of Myth Esports, they're going for a very heavy execute utility lineup. A lot of smoke bolts, a lot of fire fired from the Capital here. This one's really going to be a battle of that utility, a battle of this back and forth between these two sides, and really who's going to have the better utility and resource management game here. Because as we've seen from teams countless times beforehand, if you burn all utility in the early round, don't quite get the impact you want, you're left without much to go off for the end round here. It's all about that management, not expending it too early, finding that right moment to full send it, and then getting the results that you desire. And for Myth right now, they really need to start finding results soon.
And look at the lineup we've got this time around. So much more utility from the attack. They've got Tridley and the Monty, who should be able to make light work of any roam game that we see. This time around, we've only got 1 player up towards this top site, hoping to hold on to the CO position, waste a little bit of time, but he's going to find the full weight of this Monty in his face in a minute.
That's it, but they're unaware of Klesty, who's able to take down Akari for free on there, and here it comes. Miric's trying to challenge another, does get punished for the over-aggression there by Dynamite. 4 versus 4, but yet again, it's just very valuable loss right now for Myth, as Akari's taken off the board. That's your Capital, God, that's your fire, that's your dislodgement, because sure, you can feed information through the beehives, but they're not going to do damage. They're not going to force someone away from a position. That's what the Capital could have done. He's not going to be able to anymore. A trade, I'm sure O49 will be more than happy to take.
Yeah, Akari, unfortunately for him, he just went a bit too early. They didn't shoot the lobby cam either. You saw the yellow pings coming out onto his position, but they have got the trade. At least it's still a 4v4 situation. You still have plenty of utility in this lineup behind the Monty to try and get this kit down, but especially between the Grim and the Glaz, the cover for this plant should be phenomenal, as now we hit that sort of midway point. This is where Myth Esports, they need to decide where they want this execute to come in. Monty clearly beelining it towards those blue stairs. I think he's got a very clear position in mind where he needs to be, as I'll be back in a sec before I take it away.
Take it away, right? We certainly will do. 4v4. An interesting statistic just popped up for this one here. Mirix is the only one who actually died so far at 049. He's responsible for all 3 kills that Myth Esports have been able to accumulate as a team at a one-sided dominance right now from the both sides. Really interesting situation to find themselves in, but 60 seconds left to go. Difficult spot. Myth just got that first floor control, but they now need to find something viable for the basement. They now need to find themselves a way into the objective. Cyan going to be leading on the charge here. It's also important Tridley finds this one. He certainly will do. Takes down Klesty. It's an advantage for Myth, but they need to find a way to capitalise on it. As I said, without that capital, forcing the players out of these power positions is going to be found. It's one thing to know they're inside of there, but it's another thing to dislodge them from it. Penny's going to be watching the hatch there, nice and tight with the DMR. No one to drop it just of yet, but if anyone goes for it, it certainly means demise. Nordisk watching another spot as well. Right now for 049, despite the limited man count, they have their crosses checked and their eyes dotted. So much for them to play with right now. Toxic Babes in the back pocket of somebody, and a perfect round right now for 049 as the utility game begins. Tridley's down for the count. The diffuser itself cannot be stuck down, and Myth Esports just on time, just on utility yet again. We're going to see them flounder in the last few seconds of the round here as 049, well, they get their 4th in a row, take the round, and a steamrolling through bank right now, and this is the concern. This is the situation we're in. How do they find a way ahead of this? How do they find themselves into this one? Because right now, it is not looking good.
I mean, you saw Cyan just staring into fire and gas and everything that would kill him if he tried to go for that plant. 049ers, to give them amazing credit here, have come into this game with a phenomenal game plan. It's to sort of suffocate Myth, don't give them anything early, and try and make it as difficult as possible for Myth to make anything happen. This basement site, we know how defender-sided it is, but for the 049ers, it's the 2nd and 3rd floor site that are making this so tough for Myth Esports. They are doubling up in the right places. They are digging down into these key positions, and Myth just haven't been able to force 049ers into being uncomfortable. 049ers sort of sitting back and saying, we know what we want to hold. You have to come and get us. And right now, Myth Esports just seemingly find it extremely difficult to try and dislodge these positions. I'm very happy just sitting in sight.
Yeah, and my real concern for Myth as well is these have not been close rounds, Zamguns. There's been 4 rounds played, and Myth have 4 kills as a team. It's not been great from them. It's not like it's been close and competitive like the previous game with PGO and Turks, where there's these close rounds back and forth quite consistently. Here, it's just been a one-sided affair, both in the round count itself and the rounds themselves. And this one's starting no differently with Eli off the board. That's to the Kebi. That's your roam clear. She's going to be sitting this one out.
I mean, just the sheer aggression we're seeing from the 049ers as they send Eli back to the drones. And this is why they have the lead they do. They find these gaps early. They're putting Myth Esports under the cosh straight from the start. Sometimes it's worked out, like we see here. Other times it hasn't, like we saw with the Scopos round previously. But this is where Myth Esports, now they're down a man, we need to force an engagement. We need to pick a position on the map and basically say, this is the player we are going to isolate. These nades are going to try and clear some of these Denari gadgets, and it's great to see how much Denari has been embraced very early into his release, Travi.
This is it. I love Denari. For me, he's one of these operators that not only has so much value from a utility standpoint, I don't think we've reached the maximum of what he's capable of yet. Teams are starting to work him out. As Dynamite works out how to drop Nord-Est there, that's the Tuberel gone. Evans now back in the round 4-on-4. But yet again, for Myth, we saw it in the previous round. A man advantage was not enough. They need to find themselves something substantial here because, sure, they've remained at equilibrium to this point, but beyond that, has there been too much accomplished?
The biggest thing about this top floor is there's very key power positions we need to take hold of. One of those is the Janna position, which we saw them try and use the Capital to take care of last time around. The other is this front office area. This castle barricade we see here is the sole thing protecting somebody in and around this site, as Kesty is going to find a kill elsewhere, as we're suddenly back in a disadvantage for Myth Esport, as they're just posturing around these windows. They don't seem clear on where their tools, where this utility needs to go to get them into the site. But with 50 seconds left on the clock, Tridley might just be the difference maker. But Mirix is going to shut him down. And just like that, this round has slipped through their fingers again, Travi.
That's it. Myth now outside on the windows. Nothing, no stakes inside the building. Tridley was basically in a 1 versus 4 there for all intensive purposes. All the players on the windows are doing right now is saying to 049, you can't stand here or you're going to get shot. Because if they hop in like this, it's death. Klesty just continues to realise the situation he's in, gets aggressive. Somebody wins the 1v1 versus the Blackbeard. And it's just an absolute disaster from Myth right now. But you've got to give it to 049. They are getting aggressive. They are showing the confidence, but they're not over-exaggerating it. They're not going beyond what they need to. They're not giving themselves away. They're playing respectful. They're just playing the game, and they're playing it to a T right now as they go 5-0 up and 2 rounds away from taking the whole thing.
Maybe this is just a defender side map. Maybe I was lying. Maybe in T2, especially here in the seasonal series, this has just become a massively defender-sided map. As Myth Esports, maybe this is a map they haven't been scrimming. Maybe some of the other maps that we've seen them be extremely strong on. You've got to remember, this Myth roster, Travi, is the team that beat GK in a best of one. They took them to
Yeah.
Cafe and managed to beat GK, the absolute dominant force they are, on Cafe. But here on Bank, seems like a very different roster that we've got.
It is. It's weird to see because only a few weeks ago we were watching Myth and they look like a totally different beast. Incredible team play. The roster's not really changed at all, I don't think. And right now it's just looking a little bit lost, a little bit fragmented. And, you know, you can make the argument it's not a T2. They're not going to be showing all of their flashy circuit strategies because it's not part of the official circuit. But there has to be more at a foundational level than this because 049 right now, they've just looked so good. And if it continues this way for the next couple of rounds, they're not going to be beat.
Yeah, it could be that Myth Esports are just using this as an opportunity just to get some lower quality officials into their system. Use this as just get together on a Saturday, have some fun with it. But I don't think they were expecting the strategy from the 049ers to come out. But that's so much better from Tridley as we finally get the opening pick in our favor. Whatever the case, 049ers are capitalizing on the situation. Myth Esports, they haven't got off to a great start here as they're 5-0 down. This is a round they really need to get on in their favor, as trying to go 6 rounds flawless is an incredible task that not even the best teams can achieve.
Yeah, that's it. A 6-0 half. It stares at you. It beckons you because it doesn't come up round number 7 at the start of the next half. It comes up with match point as it will do for the 5 rounds that follow. It's so important that Myth do not come out of this half with absolutely nothing. And at least they've started to make a change. They've gotten their one. They've gotten the opener. It's just building on that now. And that's exactly what they're going to look to do as they're going to drop Klesty there. Akari extending that lead further and Myth showing signs of life.
And this is so much better from Myth. We're being patient. We're making sure we take our fights on our terms. We're not letting 049ers get in our face and put us in uncomfortable situations. And that's especially what Monty can let you do. You can just feed information to the team, allow you to be very safe in taking that space as well. As right now, 049ers, they've just walked into open arms that Myth Esports are waiting for. And now it's just about how can we convert this 5v3 advantage. Just double up with each other, make sure we keep clearing key utility. When we're not clearing castle barricades, it's not a great look.
Yeah, that's it. You need to be dealing with this utility. It's ever so important here, but you could just work through it by clearing out the players. Mirix is going to go down here, 2 versus 5. Now, Myth have firmly said in round number 6, enough is enough here, and they want to close out the half on a high note. Pitty's going to be spotted out, and very much with a man count around him. Somehow, some way, still alive, gets away back in towards Archives, but there's nothing you can do at this point than run. Somebody has to be careful of the player pushing from main stairs. Tridley's looking to get aggressive, will be punished for it. 2 versus 4 situation now. Myth, they've got 40 seconds left on this one to try and get this plant down. They've got a significant man count, not too much utility to work with, but just on the numbers alone should be able to make it work, unless Pitty can go upstairs and reclaim this. Eli is on the watch for it, but they need to move quickly because Diffuser is stuck and is going to be going down here, and now suddenly things become a lot more hard for the defense as they try to reclaim this close plant in what's now a 1 versus 4, and it's not going to last very long as Myth shut it down and get one on the board.
And hopefully this gives Myth Esports some confidence. That was a almost flawless execution coming in from the side of Myth, capitalizing on the aggression that 049ers have shown throughout. And now that we hit the half swap, this is going to be about how Myth Esports want to control this map with the bans. Do we go with the shields to stop them being aggressive to try and get more rounds on the board? But this is where now that Myth can set the pace of these rounds, they can set the tone of the rest of the game. We need them to build on the momentum from that previous round.
That's it. They're really starting from zero here, Myth. They've not had a great first half, but now it's just an opportunity to write it off, to reset. You're playing defense, you're playing a very different game right now. You could just be a defender favoured bank. It does occasionally happen, despite the relative normalcy of an attacker sided one. It's just a case of waiting and see. One round at a time is all it's going to be. No surprise, we're starting things down in the basement. The question is, do Myth want to play the utility game that they struggled with on the attack? But I think they're going to be going for something else entirely.
This is a very interesting set of bans coming in from 049ers. They don't want no information available to Myth Esports if that's on the roam or on site with the Valkyrie and Echo bans coming out. The Echo is extremely effective at denying the plant. That means you have to resort to the tools like the Tachanka, the Smoke, your more traditional operators. But I don't think Myth Esports are going to find that a problem as they're trying to stop 049ers from even getting that far. We've got a really funky assortment of operators coming in from Myth Esports. The Smoke and the K Tabaro, pretty normal when it comes to this basement site to stop those hatches getting opened up. You can completely counter any EMPs that might be used to get those hatches. But then the Castle and the Denari maybe being used to hold on to open area just to waste some time, absorb some utility before 049ers are able to push onto that bottom floor.
This is it. I think Myth very much recognised in the previous couple of attempts on this basement, the end round was their struggle. That utility dump at the final couple of seconds to get the plant down, it was not something they were succeeding with. So maybe for this go around on this defense, as you say, they're going to play open. They're going to play to burn the time so that when the attack push comes to shove, they're going to struggle to make their way into sight because they've burnt the utility clearing out the rest of the map. But I thought, they've got a very aggressive lineup. Look at that. The KB Deimos and the Blackbeard. They are going to want to hit this one quite fast and aggressive, and Myth Esports got to be careful to not be caught off guard by it.
The thing I'm a little bit worried about this lineup from the side of 049ers is it's going to be clinical in taking care of the roam game. Between the Dokkaebi and the Deimos, there's going to be no roam presence that can stop you. As you can see, they've already made their way into this mid-floor with nearly 2 minutes on the clock, but now they have stuff like the Denari setup on top blue they need to deal with. They need to be able to roll a nade into there to be able to clear it out. As now it's going to be the attacker's turn to get a shotgun kill, but the super shorty of dynamite is just better. As now 049ers extending one too early, but this is where the nade might get a 2-for-1 on this nade, getting rid of the Denaris and the shield.
Huge. So much utility gained there by that one frag alone, and it puts Tridley in a really difficult spot right now because you continue to play aggressive, but you've got nothing to protect your back, nothing to slow the attackers down if you have to run. It's basically, do you want to play in this position to die with it, or the fit, the safer option is just to retreat back down, play towards server here. 049, they've hit a curve block on the attack most certainly with Klesty going down, but they've still got quite a bit to go with and still half the round to play with here, so don't count them out just yet.
And this is where 49ers, it's now their turn to make the decisions. And this is the beauty of defense. Myth Esports are just going to patiently wait. But will Mirix on the Doki, does he have the info for this backstab? As it seems like they realize they can't go for this push. But Cyan, he's going to clear that Doki. Lovely stuff coming in there. So no backstab today. As they go 49ers, they've stalled out completely. They don't really know where they need to go, what their push is going to be to try and win this round and get it in their favor.
This is it. There's not really much going for 049 right now. You're 2 men down, and they're not. The thing is, they've not tried anything. They're assessing their options right now, trying to find weak points, trying to find potential openings. Maybe see if they can steal a pick back the other way just to make it a 4 versus 3. But the thing is, right now, is Myth, they're giving away none of it. I think they're realising the dire situation they're in, and they are going to have to play through fire to get this one on down. Norles does get one. Somebody chimes back in with another, and suddenly the round's even back out here. 049, they've not got a lot of utility. Aware of the one inside a vault, but Eli's better on the gunfight there. Takes the advantage back for Myth. It's all down to somebody in Nordes to try and clear across in towards Lockers here. Try and get this defused down, but they've only got 15 seconds to do it. It's not a lot of time. Need to win these gunfights. Can't quite do it. Caught in the cross. Nordes now got Fighter 3 against them. Able to claim on towards 1 here, but it's going to have to be a miracle. Instead, it's Tridley behind with the new shotgun. Claim out the round. The Myth start off their defensive half in pretty strong showing.
And it's a pretty good way to start off your defensive half as well. We've now got 2 rounds back to back, And now let's use that momentum. Myth Esports, I think they should be able to make this realization very early that they can employ the same strategy that 049ers did to them. Play time, play for utility, and don't put yourselves in positions that the 049ers can capitalize on early. Sometimes you need to play a style of play that confronts the enemy and you play to die in those spots. I don't think against 049ers that's the style of gameplay you want to be going for. 049ers unfortunately self-destructed almost the same way that Myth Esports were doing on their attack. But we should basically just play the long game, play to deny the plant later on in the game, let 049ers burn down the clock, so that way you can just sit pretty and wait for the attack to come to you.
That's it. You just have to just play with a bit of patience, play with a little bit of caution, and most importantly, just respect your opponents, really. 049, that confidence that they have is causing them to get a little bit aggressive, and while certainly after the last 2 rounds it's going to falter a little bit, they're still going to be trying for things. They're still going to be wanting to go for these early picks. You saw it with the Deimos in the previous round, sending it down main very early on. No, right, doing so, you can punish him for that, and Myth, I think, are starting to get a read of what could bring them back into this one.
I think also from when we did see Myth before, they're using this as an opportunity to try out new things. If you look at the lineup coming in from Myth, this is not a by-the-book lineup that we see very often. There's a real different assortment of operators that don't generally mesh with very well. For example, Eli on the mirror, generally you see a Jaeger or a Wamai to fortify that position and to make it harder for the offense to take. But I think Myth Esports understanding this is not a T2 official competition, it doesn't give you those points. They've got the freedom to try out new things, try out new strategies, and see if it works.
Yeah, that's it, and that's what the beauty of the seasonal series is all about here. It's a bit of relaxation, and well, Dynamite, he can sit back and relax for the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds because Klesty's taking him out of the board nice and early on. And this is the thing I said about Myth. They need to show patience, they need to show restraint, they need to show respect because dying like that early on for a wall bang, I believe. Klesty on the skylight. Beautiful work here from Unnamed. Do a bit of detective, bit of Sherlock work, see what's happened, and well, we see the deal, and Myth, they're going to be starting this one off in a disadvantage.
Just caught overextending as Dynamite is not happy with the state of the team that he's facing against. As Eli's going to take a lot of damage as well. They did have that drone in lobby, as you can see here. Minrix is going to try and make sure no one comes in for the late flank later on. You can see this is a full window execute here. They've got the lion to the backstab possibly later on, but they just want to use the ATM control to just apply pressure from the windows and just to force these defenders out of the site.
This is key what Klesty does in this position here, because if he gets caught out, it could be disaster. Nordest, one flank has been dropped here. Somebody's hopped in, but the Deimos has gone down. Akari's fishing for more, can't quite find it. It's all up to somebody on the Blackbeard now, but no, Tridley's found the pick backwards. Myth are fighting through this one, and Mirix is inside of hallway, trying to look in towards the site, but separated from Pity. They've got to do a good job right now to force these Myth players into 1 versus 1s, 2v1s if they can, to try and get the advantage. There's 50 seconds left to work this one around. It's decent time to do so for the attack, but so split, so disorganized from one another. If one can get picked down or Myth can find the information, they could really capitalize on it.
And this is where Myth Esports, we just need to play the crossfires. We just need to watch each other's backs. And this round will be ours. And we've cut the deficit from 5 down to 2. The momentum that this gets is crazy, as this double mirror setup is not something I could say I've ever seen before.
It's new, it's something, and as you said, I think Myth are experimented, but so far the experiment seems to be going so well. 049 having to hop in there with the 15-second music kicking in, Pity drops. Mirix has to try and clutch up, gets one, fishing for the second, but looks away, and Eli takes the gunfight, wins it on out, and as you say, Myth, they're bringing it back. It's 2 rounds separating these two teams now. It is no longer bleak, it's not a great situation for Myth regardless, but 049, they need to make sure to not get complacent at the top, because if they lose this next objective on the tertiary, they're suddenly in quite hot waters.
And Myth Esports, they're just chilling. They're playing their game. They're waiting for 049 to come to them. Although 049 did find the opening pick, they haven't put it to use. They haven't then used that lobby control to exert more pressure or to take that space to really put pressure on Myth Esports, as both of these teams seeming like they know how to get the entries, but then struggling in those mid to late phases. And that's where operators like the Grim, the Ying, the Capital, they can break that deadlock for the attack. As that's what we see 049's hopping on. We've got the Ying being brought out this time around, but if I'm Miss Esports, I'm going to keep banking on this pressure that we apply by just not doing anything. If we can keep ourselves alive, keep holding each other's backs and forcing 049ers into our arms, into fighting on our terms, I'm going to be extremely happy. I'm going to be saying to my team, let's just keep bunkering down. Let's keep doing what we're doing because 049ers are struggling just as hard as we were.
Yeah, that's it. Myth don't need to try and innovate right now. They can just keep on doing what they've been doing, because realistically speaking, until 049 can find an answer, why try and fix what's ain't broken? You know, time was saying as old as time, 049 have to keep trying different things, and while it keeps failing, Myth just keep on bringing this comeback in towards the reality. As we said, 2 rounds to separate them now, and if they win this one, it very much feels like the comeback is on, the dream can be started, but they've still got a couple kills to get before they go there, and this stock position already under a lot of pressure.
And Eli's built himself a little fortress here in stock. He's trying to catch this Dokkaebi out as she tries to spray down these Azami barricades. He will decide to keep swinging. This hatch is going to make it a little bit annoying as he's got limited room to work with. But again, this stock extension is all about time waste.
Yeah, and it's a confidence thing there, and Eli maybe had a little bit too much of it. Tridley falls as well, and it turns out it's just a full send in towards the objective here for 049. Somebody playing behind the smoke, blinded out by their own teammate, buys Myth a crucial couple of seconds to reorganize, reallocate, but not for long, as Cyan's going to be dropping on the floor there. Akari and Dynamite with it all to do, one of which with a double in the round now, a 2 versus 3 situation. It's chaos, but Pity with no way in through. Printer has to be forced in towards this double doorway. There could be a safety to go for a plant attempt here, but instead 049 just want to keep going for these gunfights because they're winning them out. Akari dropped to the floor. Dynamite with the ever so prominent super short. He won't be able to get anything going, and 049 get their first attacking round on the board, and with it, match point.
I mean, 049ers, the Glaz hit a shot before his ability came online. Like, the game sense is unreal. I'm pretty sure, Travi, he was fully smoked and still hit the shot. I mean, the game sense, not sure what it is. Absolutely finding a phenomenal kill there to open up the round. And maybe that change in pace is all 049ers needed. They decided not to go with their slow and methodical approach this time around. They just want to hit the site, go fast with the Ying and the Blitz. And it's worked out beautifully for them as Myth Esports weren't prepared for that fast-paced take to come in. And now they claim match point. Myth Esports need 3 rounds back-to-back to get this game into overtime.
And that's the thing. That's the pressure. Those 3 words there. Back to back. Myth Esports, they've had their blunders in the first half, and it's cost them now in the late game, where you're at this situation where one more mistake, one over aggression, one weakness that's exposed by 049, and the game is over and done with it there. And your group stage, well, a 1-1 for the day for Myth wouldn't be too bad. 049 would also be sharing the same result, 1-1. But I think Myth, they want to be taking this one further, because the last 2 rounds we've seen before the previous one showed a lot of promise, but they can't let it get to their heads now. 1 round at a time. Take it slow, take it easy, and just build yourselves back up to that overtime.
I think this is as good as time as any to touch upon how this part of the tournament actually works, because the way this is working is the teams that have qualified into this stage will be playing a round-robin style format. It's going to be every team that's qualified into it play each other, and those are going to be taking place over the next 3 to 4 weekends, every Saturday and Sunday. Each of these teams will be playing 2 fixtures until they've played everybody. So I believe it's a 1x round robin, and for a win you get 3 points, for an overtime win you get 2, for an overtime loss you get 1, and for a regulation time loss you get 0. So Myth Esports, if they want to claim some points out of this matchup, they need to push this all the way. And once again, looking to hold this mid-floor and make it difficult for the 049ers to get any kind of information on this hold on the mid-floor.
Yeah, and information is going to be so key. When you're going aggressive, well, big C4 there from Tridley solves the problem just like that. That's the Ossa taken off the board. That's one of your shields. That's a way to cross this ever so precarious area, and it leaves it all up to the Blackbeard here to really apply it, as you've got 3 attackers coming up here in towards lobby. They're going to section off the area here with the Aurora. Beautiful use of the utility, but are they aware of Eli, who's now going to be sectioned on in, can't quite get on out, throws the impact grenade, goes for something, but misses the shots, does hit one to Nordes, able to take down Klesty, gets the advantage, and Myth Esports Esports, they're shutting down 049 at every possible turn. A 2 versus 5 becomes a 1v5. Pity cornered in garage, tuck in behind the armored truck, and well, you've now got 5 defenders who are really hungry for this one, who want this kill. They're all just stacking upon it there, and it's going to be none other than Tridley to close it on out. A flawless round for Myth as they claim it back, and 2 more to go.
And that's a beautiful read from the side of Myth Esports. Really good play from the Goyo as well. One of the few operators left that still have the ACOG on defense, putting that slug shotgun to work. But this is where 49ers, the take was really one-dimensional, and Myth Esports have read into it extremely well. They understand as soon as these Roarer gates come out, they're trying to drop these hatches, and they let Myth Esports be posted up in and around Vault and hold those crossfires onto anybody dropping that hatch. So a really novel idea from 49ers, but not working out this time around. So Myth Esports, they get to go back to this top floor that was decimated the time before, and they need to dig deep to be able to push this to a 1-round deficit.
That's it, and they're going to be going back with this mirror strategy, this Akari strategy, this Denari strategy. They're bringing the new operators, still experimenting a little bit here, but is a little bit more to what we used to be seeing on this top floor here. Not really totally reinventing the wheel, but not playing exactly by either. I think that's a comfortable position for Myth right now. Experimental now is not the time. You need to be banking these points. As we said, even getting to overtime, that's 1 point for Myth. That's really the goal right now. And risking it all on some new strategy that's untested probably is not going to be the play.
Maybe taking that gamble is something we need. Myth Esports, they've brought a very similar lineup to what they've brought previously, and Akari on this Denari has been cooking up some great stuff. He's just taken out his own Denari, so as I say that, I've just cast the curse on it massively. However, the lineup is pretty straightforward. We're still going to extend into stock to control some of the map on the top floor to deny space from 49ers to work with. But 49ers, once again, they've gone with this extremely frag-heavy lineup to be able to deal with the utility being brought out by Myth Esports.
It's a really interesting solution to the answers and the questions really being raised up by Myth right now. They're clearing through the utility here, getting rid of these trip connectors, allowing them that hop in towards stock, just opening up the possibilities, giving them options how to deal with this one. But as Mute Jammers, they're going to limit the effectiveness of those Frutero drones there, meaning that Myth, they're just going to have a little bit longer to play in these positions of safety. And as you said, it's all about that time to know, all about forcing 049 to a really uncomfortable execute.
The biggest question I've got is if they're going to go for this window take once again, or if they even want to go through square, how do they deal with this mirror that you see Cyan playing with? They have the Capital bolts to be able to smoke or fire it off, but is that the most reliable way to deal with it? Will they give enough distraction? Will the info be negated from that position? Because you see in the lineup, we've got 2 C4s to deny the plant later on. Those stock players can drop down the hatch as well and deny the plant from below, even if their mirror windows get smoked off.
This is it. Such a crucial hop in right now. Pitty's able to survive. Myrix does go down, but possibly could be recovered. It's really important this Blackbeard stays alive right now. Throws the frag grenade. Is able to deal with it. Doesn't quite fall down the hatch here. Myth Esports, they're being chipped away at right here. Losing the HP to the fire. But all 10 players still standing in the lobby here. 70 seconds on the clock. And the final execute this round, it's going to be bloody. Eli starts us off there with a massively impactful C4. Pitty's brought down to low HP as well. Doing what you need to do against the shield here. Not going to survive that C4. Cyan gets the kill. Does drop down to the floor himself. But 049, they're the ones that are dropping like flies right now. Somebody's hopped into a little bit of a box. No real way out of this one. Elsewhere, Norris on square has to come up huge. Has to make an impact. Buy a bit of breathing space for the teammate to get on in. But 40 seconds to go. It's time to work with. But Myth, I fear they've got the read.
This is a 4v2 situation. They're going to hold the crossfires. They're going to patiently wait for 49ers to try and walk into their lair. This is the Dragon commanding his own space. There is nothing for 49ers to do but send it. Utility is going to start flying out. The flashbang's there. Somebody's going to get the first. They have 2 players on low HP. Anything is possible as they start to get aggressive. The SMG-11 shooting back as this push comes in. The clock keeps ticking, but the triple crossfire is too strong. As somebody finds his second in the 1v2, tagged down to 1 HP. Can he find the last 2 he needs? But these players backing off cleverly. The prone angle will be king for Tridley, as that's a beautiful round for the side of Myth Esports to send us to a 6-5 scoreline.
6-5, and this is the big one right now. If 049, because the thing is, they will not be happy if they come out of this one 1-1 with an overtime win, because they've only got the 2 points. Myth, they'll be more than happy to claim, especially with how woeful the first half was for them. They've done a phenomenal job to just keep that mental going, fight their way back into this one, but this is all around that matters, because if Myth can't get this, all of the fight back, all of the resilience, it was for nothing. Sure, you save a bit on the round differential, but you're not bagging points. That is the most important thing right now for Myth, and to get that point, they need to win this round. No ifs or buts about it.
Can Myth, can they force it all the way? And this is where last time we were on Kitchen, it was an incredibly concise and accurate rush coming in from the side of the 049ers, and they've got the Ying in the lineup once again. Myth Esports, when they are playing together, when they have the team coordination to hold each other and play these crossfires, their defense has looked incredibly strong, and that's what we need from them again. We need them to post up with each other and make sure they're supported in the positions they want to hold, and make sure that if there is any early warning signs of that rush, that we are ready and prepared for it. We need to make sure our defensive rotations are on point if 049ers choose to hit the site direct once again.
That's it. It's so... You cannot understate the importance of this one. 049, they're going for what looks like an aggressive lineup here, but the one that really piques my curiosity is Clesty. That Nook on the backstab. So that's some pretty good moments this game so far. 9 and 7, a mix of greatness with some mediocrity there as well. Great game to play certainly so far, but needs to pick up the pace here. Needs to really get something going on this Nook, because I feel with this lurking operator, it's all or nothing, and it needs to be everything in this one.
Yeah, they've given him the reins. They've let him go. Just go do your thing. Go kill. Maybe play on that lurk position to try and catch Myth Esports off guard when the main push comes in. He also has the nades to claim any barbed wire or anything you might find. As right now, 049ers, they're just hunting for this opening pick. You can see them using various different drones spread out across the map to try and get this opening and tip the round in their favor.
That's it, but they've got to be cautious not to burn too much of the time. This caution is great and all, but if you can't get anything paying off for it, instead it's actually going to be them worse off, and even more so. Mirix goes to the floor there. 5 versus 2 situation as Dynamite comes alive. 049, they've hesitated, and Myth have noticed, and they have taken the opportunity here. A 2v5 situation for Clesty to have a life moment, a life clip. Now would be the time, but Red onto the staircase. Eli goes for the gunfight, doesn't win it out. It's a lifeline into the round, but with 2 quick kills going back the other direction, it's even. 049 somehow, some way found their way back into this. Akari and Cyan, quiet so far this game, now need to come up huge for their team to buy them an overtime to get them into this one, with 049 in a really rough spot, but 70 seconds to clear on through. This gunfight's crucial, but they're not going to come out on top. Myth maintain their lead and put Nord-Est in a very difficult 1v2.
Akari does not lose those engagements. We've still got 3 Candelas, however, Travi, in pocket to make something happen. Myth Esports just don't peek, and Cyan's got wallbang. No need for that, as that's an insane shot to hit from Nordness, and he's going to look to get this diffuser down. The Candela's going out. He's not sure where this last player is. The last seen upstairs, but does he have the space to get that kit down?
This is going to be such a massive 1 versus 1 right now. But it's all on Nord-Est. They've only got 1 Candela. No idea. Can throw the drone. Going to try and use it to feed the information on through. But the thing is, Akari's playing upstairs. It's not going to be spotted out by the drone, but that does limit the ways he can get back into this objective. It gives Nord-Est the comfortability to play off the sound cue, try and stick the diffuser on down. Now the time scales have been flipped. Akari has to be the one to aggress. Akari has to be the one to win this gunfight, and he's going to do it. Gets the player dropped on down. Myth Esports find their way all the way back into this game from a 5-1 deficit into an overtime. Now one question remains for the last 3 rounds. Who comes away with the extra point?
I mean, what a shot from Akari. You have no business with the SMG-11 absolutely doming people like that. And what a play as well. After his teammates sold them out to end up in the 1v1 situation, that is a beautiful shot to send us into overtime. And this is where Myth, that they're on the attack. This was a lot harder for them to get anything going. So this is where they really need to lock in. They need to try and replicate the success they found by countering the aggression that 049ers were showing on their last attack of the regulation half. And Cyan hopping on the Monty, I think is a great way to be able to do that.
It is going to be just a really interesting couple of rounds. As you say, you need to find a way around this. Myth know what's about to come against them. There's no two ways around it. They know they're about to go into this utility-heavy game again. It's worked so well for 049. What do? You bring them Monty, like you said, Guns. It's that question of, is that going to be the thing that makes the difference here? Is this going to be what gets Myth their attack? Because, you know, of the 12 rounds we've seen, there's only been 2 won by the offense.
The biggest thing that I want to see from Myth Esports is maybe change the game. We've been going for these server takes time and time again. There is another option available to you. Tachanka is having a really hard time getting this hatch open, by the way, as he dumps nearly a whole egg. That hatch just did not want to pop. But as I was saying, Myth Esports, you have options available. You can either bring the double shield lineup like we're doing now, or we can also go for these lobby hatches. We've seen 049ers attempt and fail miserably at going for that lobby take. But if you want to go for that full map control, if you're going to contest this roam, you then have the choice of either way. And with the lineup when you've got with these 2 shields on board, you have the ability to be able to do that. It seems like Myth Esports, they're going for a bit of a different take here, sending these shields up towards that lobby side.
Yeah, they've obviously readjusted a little bit off the back of the 6th pick there, going towards lobby, maybe wanting to go in towards garage here. They do have a ping on towards the player in the position there. Mirix has to be careful not to lose the gunfight on early. Tachanka comes in to provide that long-range support, the suppressing fire of the LMG and the fire as well. But what you should be concerned about right now is Klesty, who's stolen away Dynamite, and that's 50% of the shield work for Myth, done and dusted.
And Blitz is going to try and get the opening trade back as he flashes one. Goyo trying to fight back. We'll find the melee. Surely we find this kill. We do indeed, as that's going to be Mirix to fall. Dynamite, though, punished by Kalesti early as they just had the info that that rush was coming in. They're going to try and find this next freebie onto this player holding this position as they have full drone info on this player here in Garage.
They know he's there. It's all about, can you win the gunfight? Do you go for the toes? Try and take the heads. There's options here on how to play it. Using those smoke grenades to cover. Pity knows the game that's up. And for Tridley, well, so is his life. Drops to the floor there. Klesty with a double. Sees defeat through the smoke. No way he gets away with that one. 2 versus 4 situation now for Myth as their attack. It's not off to the best to start here. Do eventually claim control of Garage, but that's only a small matter in the means of attrition as Merdes tries to run away. Gets dropped by Akari. 2 versus 2 evens right now, but Myth Esports is a very one-dimensional push right now. They need to relocate. They've got the time, but the question is, are they going to be able to get the picks or not?
Celeste, he's going to use that scope possibility to be able to bounce back to that mid-floor to try and go for the roam game once again. But now we have Cyan and Akari left. This is where he's the only one left on the site itself. We just need to double up with each other. Get Cyan in the face of one of these opponents. He's going to use the Scope shell as the shield to try and repel this attack. But I think this is where Myth Esports use the blitz to sort of take the 2v1 engagement on one of these players and on the 049 players and get the round in your favor. Because you can just see here, Akari, he's got the knowledge, he's got the skills to be able to coordinate this to get Myth Esports onto match point.
That's it. It's going to be so important for Myth to finally take the match point after what's been a really turbulent game for them thus far. They spot out the Scopo shield. They don't have the impact projectile from the Zofia to deal with it, so other means are going to need to be done. Drop towards in elevator, but that may have been a mistake here. Stalled out by the Toxic Babes. They just have to push on through, but push right into Klesty. Triple for the round. Akari on a sliver of HP. 6 seconds to go. Diffuser's cold. 049. They're not giving this one away, and they get themselves back up onto map point now, prized to try and claim this one in overtime.
And unfortunately for 049ers, they haven't had great success on the attack either. So this is a big round if they want to clinch this win here and now in this round. They really need to look at what Myth Esports are doing and try and react to it. I think the biggest thing that's been holding the 049ers back is they haven't really been responding to the strats been brought out by Myth. They kind of have these set loadouts that they bring for each of their attacks, and they're not really the most well balanced to deal with some of the operators that we see from Myth Esports. So if they can try and get some information in the prep phase, try and spot out some of the strats that Myth Esports are trying to do to hold this basement site, and then try and adjust their loadout to try and deal with those tools that Myth Esports are bringing.
That's it. It's going to be an interesting one. Regardless of, though, Oh, 49, you've got to give it to them, right, Amguns. They're going to be on that map point yet again. They let it slip through a couple of rounds in a row for regulation. Just because they've got that doesn't guarantee them the safety. Myth, there's a lot to work on right now here. You've got to win this round. You've got to get this starting point. Finally, we're starting to see players break towards that positive point. Tridley and Eli getting themselves up there in the KD ball. But now, here comes the do or die moment. Here is the important one. And back down to this basement with the Denari on the board. It's going to be a spicy round.
And again, relatively unchanged from the 49ers. This is a very similar loadout to what we've seen time and time again. But the biggest thing with esports is why not bring a Jaeger to aid in this Denari setup?
Yeah.
We saw one nade cleared the shield and all the Denari gadgets last time around. So I really think we should be bringing some kind of utility, Travi, to support that position, because you just won't be able to remove that player with the support of those Denari gadgets if you had a Jaeger on board.
Yeah, something like a Jaeger would really benefit a team right now. Wamai, you know, bring him as well. He's recently gotten the secondary shotgun as well, I believe. It's a bit of extra value there from the operator. There's options here for Myth right now in the lineup, but that's if, buts, maybe it's if they're going to be bringing them in the future. It's the final defense we're going to see from them. No infinite overtime to be seen here. It's the first 1 to 8. It's as simple as that. And Myth, it's do or die in this round. They need to get this one done. They need to make sure they're not going to give up this top floor control too early on here. Tridley is playing by blue, and it gives 049 that breathing room to really start to look to get themselves poised up to drop into this site.
And we hit this very similar strategy that we've seen time and time again. And this is where Dynamite and Cyan's abilities, they're going to be the biggest thing that Myth Esports have in their arsenal to be able to counter this push. Tabaro has that C4 in back pocket as well, so they can just patiently wait for this push. But just like Myth Esports, they're going to try and find this freebie with the Glaz onto this player. Both of these teams using very similar strategies to try and find this opening pick, as this is where Dynamite needs to be extremely careful in his position to try and make sure they don't lose this garage position.
Yeah, it's a very important position. Catches a bit of Pity's foot through the smoke there. Just enough to buy a moment of hesitation. And that allows him to just slip on away from it. Not going to be playing too close to it just yet. Clesty's upstairs, getting themselves in a gunfight, taking a bit of damage. But no, it's Nordest to confirm the first one. That's the blue stairs player cleared out. More importantly, pressure from the blue side of the map. And Square opened up now. 049 have a way into this one. And if Myth aren't careful, they could lose Garage too. Unless Dynamite can continue to hit these nasty shots here with the TCSG.
His foot keeps sticking out here as this player keeps peeking. They have full info on that player, but Glaz is going to drop the hatch. This is going to be a full lobby take coming in from the side of 49ers. Dynamite's going to find the lurking player. So this is a full front-on Vault take coming in as Nords finds a double for himself as they start to steamway through their way through Vault.
Myth lost the man advantage now, but they've got 30 seconds to burn through, but they're losing players by the second. They need to play it safe, need to play it cautious, rely on that clock. Forced out by the grenade, Cyan goes to the floor. Akari not too far behind, and with it, 049, they're going to take themselves back. They're going to redeem themselves for their loss earlier on in the day, come out 1-1. Sure, you don't get the 3 points being an overtime victory, but taking down an org like Myth, that's nothing to shy away from. A phenomenal result for the 049ers.
I mean, what a game we've just got to see. The comeback season was almost there from Myth. They went 5 rounds back to back to bring it into overtime, but they weren't able to get their overtime win over the line because, quite frankly, the 49ers, that lobby take, they finally fine-tuned it. The last time that we saw 49ers go for that take, they didn't really have the control over the map that we needed to see from them to get that over the line. This time they had the control. They took their time getting to lobby, get the full take set up, and they just managed to overwhelm the side of Myth Esports, especially in those key defensive positions. But I think overall, Travi, for today, we had some banger games today.
This is the thing, and both games for me, they were heartbreaking moments in both games, right? We had the red 1v3 almost in the first game of today, heartbroke dead, and heartbroke for Myth just there in that final game of the afternoon. Really thought we were going to go to 15, really thought we were going to go the distance, but it just seemed that 049 just had that little bit extra in the tank there for that game. They got the job done, and I suppose it is redemption, because as you said, it's all about this round-robin group stage, and it means they're going to be coming out of the day 1-1, same exact result as was Myth. Obviously, points, Myth are going to be slightly higher up there, win being in regulation compared to 049, who just got the overtime. As well, Myth will be taking some points just from getting it to that overtime point as well. But like you said, phenomenal games all around today. And even elsewhere in the bracket, we've had some bangers as well. Turks, they won their second game of the day against Flair, 7-4. Currently, I believe, at the top of the leaderboards with 6 points for them, as well as a very nice high round differential from the wins. And Wild were able to beat PGO as well, 7-4 yet again. But all around, some phenomenal games we've had today.
Yeah, it was great fun. It was really good fun today. And just want to give a huge thank you to Unnamed Observer, Unnamed Gamer for being our observer today, getting ourselves twisted. It's been a long day. And I want to give a massive shout out to Rainbow Rumble. That's also happening at the moment. There's so much siege taking place at the moment, as I believe GK have got themselves back into the grand final. They'll be playing off against Good Intentions.
Good Intentions. Yeah, again, a really spicy rematch. That's going to be so spicy.
So that should be great fun to watch. So that's going to be happening tomorrow. That's the grand final. There's also going to be seasonal series people streaming tomorrow as well, which is crazy to see.
That's it.
And the last thank you, which goes out to everyone watching as well.
Yeah, thank you all for watching very much. Zamgun says there's more seasonal series tomorrow. There's more going on in the NA tonight. There's more EU right now, so I'm going to very quickly throw you away. Good guys out for us. They're in overtime on match point. It's going to be an incredibly spicy game there. That one's coming to its conclusion, so let's go catch the action. All of you folks home, thank you for watching. Have a great evening. We'll catch you for the next one.